Welcome to Facility Maven here on Podbean, a podcast where your questions on facility and cleaning issues are answered by mavens in your field. This podcast is brought to you by FacilityMaven.com, where you can elevate your career with facility and cleaning supplies. Hello, everyone. This is Dave Thompson. I am your host here on this podcast. And, we're going to talk to the facility managers out there. Now, when we talk facility managers, it's not always just schools, but it seems like, the people in the educational departments are the ones that want to talk the most. So this morning I have with me Kenny Seybold. He's with Flagler County Schools here in Florida. And, Kenny and I have struck up kind of a relationship over the last couple of months. Kenny, you want to tell people why we're talking today and what happened recently that we should be having this conversation?
Good morning, Dave. My name is Kenny Seybold, Director of Custodial Services here in Flagler County. For those that don't know, Flagler County is located on the east coast of Florida. We're about equidistant from St. Augustine to our north and Volusia down to our south. Dave, we were very proud to have Ron Crowley be the rock star custodian for this past year. So our district is extremely proud of that and what your organization does to promote through custodians throughout the country. So it's kind of led us to this conversation about facilities and the roles that maybe custodial departments play in that. And I think in our conversation, we kind of find that it's really one size doesn't fit all. There's different things for different school districts. But I know you have some questions that are specific to Flagler, and hopefully a couple people listening, to this can maybe pick up a thing or two.
Well, and Kenny, that's exactly why we're talking this morning. The conversation amongst people in the cleaning industry is very minimal. But it seems like facility managers that have the responsibility of not just custodial, but buildings and grounds, which includes, HVAC, plumbing, heating, all of that kind of stuff. And you have kind of a breadth of experience because you've not just played the role currently, for custodial, but some other roles that kind of give you a unique perspective on the whole overall picture of the way a facility, a school district, buildings and grounds get taken care of.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend people go this route to get the experience, but back in 2005, we opened up our second high school here in Flagler County, Matanzas High School. And we were actually started this school with in two concretables, with just 9th and 10th graders. And we were able to go into the main building of the school. And the only thing we were allowed to use was the cafeteria. So we literally, those students, there were about 300. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There were about 600 students. We literally watched the school be built from ground up. I mean, the school was there itself. But in terms of a lot of the things that had to be done inside the school, the electric, that year, there was still getting completed. And there's a lot of reasons as to why that happened at that particular school. But in that process, I got to meet a lot of different departments and people that are involved in a process like that. It was really educational, just sitting in meetings, listening and watching how that all comes about when you open a brand new school. It's a beautiful school, Matanzas, and there are some headaches along the way and some things that you're wondering, why are they doing it this way? Why don't they stop? And, permitting and contracts and adjusting blueprints. I didn't realize some of the costs involved in that. If you do make it's kind of, if you're building a house and you decide to make a change in your house, sometimes there's a fee involved. So you can just imagine that on a scale of a high school that now, houses over 2,000 students. So it was interesting, and it just kind of, just allowed me to kind of have a little bit of information, which I can be dangerous with. But that's kind of just one of the, major experiences that I had here in Flagler County.
Well, no, as you're talking about this, Kenny, experience teaches us a number of different things. So if you would kind of pick out one particular thing that would help other facility managers understand, because I got to tell you, there's a lot of movement in all industries. Here in 22, there's a lot of people that have come and gone and people that are dealing with new challenges. So what would be the number one thing that you have seen would be a challenge and maybe also an asset?
Well, I think the key thing is because, as you mentioned, Dave, you have so many different parts in our schools, and I'm going to be specific to schools, that you have to have the communication. So, we have a plant services department, and they oversee kind of the structural part of the school. So if there's something with the AC or plumbing, typically they have guys within their department that would come and fix that. But just as you go through the school year, and buildings age, and you have different things you need to do. So whether that's we're recarpeting a couple of classrooms, and our moving team, which falls under our custodial department, they have to get in and move furniture because you have an outside contractor coming in, and they're on tight schedules. So it's really important, I think, that somewhere along the line, the people involved in it do have those communications. We meet once a month with each of our schools. We have 9 schools, so we meet once a month with each of those schools throughout the month, just to go over facility needs, maintenance needs, custodial needs, and just review where we are, what projects we have coming up with that particular school. And it's just it's a lot of balls in the air, but you just want to keep them going, and just talk and make sure we're all aware of what each person's doing. And then we do have we are center of our community. I know a lot of communities, they have civic centers or big areas, auditoriums, where they can host events. We have a auditorium here, which we do, there's shows and Broadway like shows that come in here. And that facility has, I think, a seating of about, 1,500 people, maybe a little more. But one of the other big things that we do here is we have a home show, and our custodial department is an integrated part of that in terms of making sure the facility's clean. There's approximately, maybe 25,000 people, 30,000 people that'll walk through that high school, which is Flagler Palm Coast High School, on that weekend for the home show. And, just in terms of getting it set up, we set it up. We do have an outside group that comes in and sets up the vendors' booths, but we got to put down the gym floor, the protected covering, electric. We do within our plant services department, and then just the upkeep of the facility and that event during the weekend, and then of course the breakdown of it. So there's that's just one example of a major thing we have going on, and then you just have those meetings in the principal's office of the school, or assistant principal, just to hear what's going on at Old Kings Elementary School. We're going to be removing 2 portables from their school, so coordinate those teachers moving back into the main building. So just you're kind of just different things going on, and the one big thing would be that communication and making sure that everyone's kind of on the same page with what's going on.
Well, now you're facility managing, but from the custodial viewpoint, how much do you have to integrate your communications then with the principal, assistant principal, the plant manager, that runs all the other departments? How often do you have to work with them and communicate? I mean, or is it all just kind of rolled into one, or do you have separate stuff?
I don't know if it's rolled into one. I mean, we have our site coordinator, which is like our lead custodian at each school. We call them site coordinators. And so they're in contact every day with whether it's the assistant principal or principal at that particular school. And they'll check the work orders that might come in. And it just might be something that Mrs. Smith needs, a couple of boxes moved from a room to somewhere else, or deliveries are made to the loading dock, and they're bringing those things to the particular teacher. But we have a platform called which is where our it's called Essential Assets, and that's where our work orders are done. And so our custodians check that every day to see what work orders are need to be attended to. And then we have what's called event manager, which is run through our plant services. And those are for events that might go on in our school. So maybe there's a dance at the middle school, and, you know, the assistant principal will put in, you know, the needs for a dance, and, you know, they might check, they need a custodian, you know, there throughout the event to clean up. So there's, you know, it's pretty constant, depending just what's going on at schools. For instance, this weekend, right here at Flagler Palm Coast High School, we have a track meet that's starting about 12 o'clock. There's probably about 30 teams that are coming to FPC for the track meet. And then they have about 16 teams here for a wrestling tournament in the gym. So a lot going on. And, you know, so there's just, you know, you're constantly checking event manager, and our site coordinators are looking at those things to make sure, you know, things are in place from the custodial part, which we're do a lot of the setup. And then, of course, the cleaning throughout the event, cleaning restrooms, cleaning the facilities throughout the event, and then, you know, your breakdown. And because now you have to have your schools ready on Monday for students when they come back.
Oh yeah, let's not forget the main reason that a school is there, right? Education of the students, right?
Number one priority, yes. Every decision made is with students first, correct.
It sounds like, though, you know, and I'm thinking about somebody that's new to this, Kenny, that's just getting into facilities management, and doesn't really know exactly the full breadth of what they're getting themselves into. What would be your main advice to them? The number one thing that they need to be, well, I guess maybe skilled at or schooled on before they jump headlong into it?
Yeah. So, you know, when you get into, you know, the individuals in plant services, which, you know, I'm thinking of some of the people that work in that department. They didn't go to school for education. I mean, they're experts in, you know, whether it's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, construction. So their degrees and their backgrounds are centered around that. You know, I went to college to be an educator, and so you know, I can't speak to their expertise. But, you know, one of the things that I think someone coming in here is just, you know, your organizational skills in this profession are critical. Your communication skills, you know, because it's, you know, it's not always going to be an easy day, and things go wrong, and you need to, you know, just kind of take a deep breath sometimes, have that patience. You know, personally right now, I'm dealing with a situation with, you know, coaches can be very emotional. I was a coach once, and he's not very happy with the custodian at his school right now. And so we're trying to correct that. I mean, it'll be fine, but it's kind of, you know, sometimes things happen in the heat of the moment. So, you know, it's just keeping a big eye on it, and realize, you know, you just had said it, and said, you know, to me, it's, you know, we're here for students, and that's why we're doing these things. That's why, you know, we have the track meet here this weekend, the wrestling match, or, you know, the weightlifting match that happened yesterday, or the dances at the middle school. You know, whatever the case might be, the award presentations at elementary schools. You know, we are, you know, the custodians, and sometimes plant managers. We're in the background, and that's fine. You know, we have our directors meetings, and, you know, and one of the things our superintendent says, you guys are kind of in the background, but you're the wheels that keep the things going. You know, but so maybe it's not always the glory of it. It's not something that I would, you know, if you're somebody that really kind of needs a lot of pat on the backs and that praise, might not be the career for you. But if you just love helping people, and you got those organizational skills and those communication skills, it's a great field to get into. There's so many various opportunities. You know, I was a teacher my whole career, and kind of winding down here now. I'm in my 20, and I'm sorry, my which 20. I'm in my 37th year, and most of that's been in a classroom or in a school as an administrator. And I've been blessed to be the director of custodial services and have this experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. But yeah, it's just having those skills, as I mentioned, that communication and organizational skills, and being a people person as well.
Folks, I think as you're listening to Kenny this morning talk about all of this, it's interesting to me. And the reason we're having this conversation today, Kenny, is, you know, the first criteria for the National Rockstar Custodian was communication. And it's the one thing that you key on this morning. And, whenever we pick the winners for that, the information that you put down for Ron Crowley started with communication. It doesn't matter what position we hold, communication is still, to me, and I agree with you 100%. If you don't have that skill, you're probably in the wrong career.
Yep. And, and Ron is obviously outstanding at that. And just being, and you have to, you have to want to make impact, with this specifically. I mean, I'm sure if you were a facilities manager at a big civic center, a hockey arena or something, maybe something not that big, but, something maybe a little smaller, but, your focus might be a little different. Here in our school, our focus is students first. And Ron's a great communicator with students, and, every day he's there, making an impact on kids. So that's the great thing about this position, is the impact you make. It was funny yesterday. I was at our government services building, and a car pulls up, and a guy says, "Hey, old man." It was one of my ex-basketball players. And I looked at him, I said, "Rodney, old man, you have more gray hair than I do right now. I don't know who you're calling old man," but it was just nice. You have those moments where you catch up in this industry, this profession, allows that to happen. So it's definitely somebody out there. I would see what's available and certainly pursue it, because you do make an impact.
Well, Kenny, I'm not going to talk about the hair issue at all today because, folks, you can't see anything. This is a podcast, so I thank goodness that that's the truth, right? So, Kenny, we appreciate your time this morning. We'll come back to you for some other little tidbits on facility management. Maybe we can get some other people involved there from Flagler. Folks, I got to tell you, if you haven't nominated your Rockstar Custodian, please go to www.rockstarcustodian.com. Nominations for 2022 are there. I'm sure that Kenny and Ron are going to come up with some kind of nominee from their school district, not to be outdone by anybody else. So, Kenny, I got 2 questions before I leave you.
Okay.
Where were you born?
I guess I don't know if it's that. I keep wondering if my New York Bronx accent's still there. I guess it is. I've been in Florida for close to 30 years, but I don't know. You can't, you can take the kid out of the Bronx, but you can't take, that saying goes. But can't take the Bronx out of me. So I was actually born in Yonkers, New York, and basically grew up. I met my beautiful bride at a school, and we got married in 1993 and moved down here to Florida right after. In fact, went on our honeymoon and came straight to Florida. So been here ever since.
And what is on your personal bucket list for this year? Not business wise, but Kenny's bucket list.
Yeah. So, one of the things is I think it's really important. Health. We've heard this expression, but health is your wealth, and taking care of yourself. I look, myself personally, I need to probably do a little better job eating, kind of cut my portions in half. So just taking a little better care of myself. I mean, I feel great. I certainly don't feel the way I felt when I was in my 30s, but as we get older, taking care of yourself, getting those checkups, I need, me personally, I'm going to try and make that a goal to be a little better at that, be a little more conscious of that. As I say this, my secretary is ordering pizzas for our whole staff this afternoon.
Well, just have one slice, Kenny.
That's the key, Dave. Right, just have one. But anyway, I would say that's on my personal bucket list for this year. Is just to try and take a little better care and lose a couple of pounds, because when last thing I'll say is, we're all going to be at a point where, we're going to step away from the jobs that we do, from retirement, and, have the ability to do things when you get to that point. I had a assistant principal who retired. And I was like, gosh, Kim, you can do so many things. She says, it's exactly right. She worked very, very hard in her career. And she says, I want to be able to, to walk and walk up that cruise ship or go on a vacation and see things and not have the aches and pains. So that's just kind of it. Just take care of yourself and, and just try to allow yourself to be in a position where you can do things, and those bigger things on your bucket list, I guess, is where I'm going with this.
Well, Kenny, I appreciate your time this morning and helping us out with this. Folks, you can always get in touch with us. We'll have the website and contact information here in the show notes. Now, you might be asking, why did I ask those two questions, folks? It's very simple. It doesn't matter where you start, and we don't know where we're going to end. It's the journey in between that I want you to focus on and make sure that that journey is healthy, positive, and proactive. Thanks, Kenny. We will talk with you again, and have a good weekend.
Yep, we look forward to it, Dave, and thank you and your organization and your group and your team members for all that you guys do. It's much needed. It's a great educational resource, and so certainly we're very fortunate to have you in this industry for our custodians and cleaning professionals. So thank you for what you do as well.
You're very welcome.